Most people misinterpret the meaning of a scientific theory. We know evolution is a change in the gene pool of a population from generation to generation by such processes as mutation, natural selection, and genetic drift. Over the past millions of years, change has staggered throughout life, so the result we see today is not the same results as we saw 1,000 years ago. In this documentary, you will see that the evidence that backs up the theory of evolution.
Fossils are an example of proof of evolution. Fossils allow us to see similarities and differences between two species. These similarities in an old fossil compared to a newer fossil can show how a species has evolved. For example, we have fossils of human skeletons from 1.9 million years ago and older. These fossils show that we did not always look the same. We used to have larger cheekbones and our mouths peeked outward from our faces. This is not what we look like now, obviously. There is evidence from fossils showing the progression over time of us as humans and many other fossils of other species.
Biogeography is defined as the branch of biology that deals with the geographical distribution of plants and animals. Charles Darwin, who is known for his evolutionary theory, studied the biography of a specific type of bird on different islands and on mainlands. He discovered that the finches on the different islands looked very similar to the finches on the mainland. This led Darwin's hypothesis that the species had come from an ancestor on the mainland. Since the environmental climate and pressures on the islands differed from each other, this led to a variation in the population.
DNA replicates and gives the instructions on how to build proteins. When DNA replicates, mutations occur which allow variety among species. These mutations can be either good or bad for them, and they will either pass their mutation down to offspring because they survived, or they'll die. This is known as the survival of the fittest. When comparing two species that are alike, the amino acid sequences in DNA are similar. For example, pilot whales and hippos have similar DNA and amino acid sequences when the two species are compared. This shows that they're related even though they look different because they have a common ancestry. Homologous, analogous, and vestigial structures also help us categorize species because we can compare each bone structure to see the similarities. If we look at a human skeleton and a monkey skeleton, you see the structures are homologous. As of a bat and a bird, they both can fly, but they come from a different origin, making them analogous. Tailbones on humans are vestigial body parts on our bodies that remind us that we have evolved and no longer having tails.
In evolution, we have two main ways in categorizing species, divergence and convergence. Divergence is when a group of species come from a common ancestor, while convergence is when the species don't come from the same ancestor. Divergence helps us know more about evolution because we see how animals have different traits caused by mutations but have similar bone structure. As with convergence, it helps us because we see how species evolve with similar traits caused by their adaptation to their environment.
Fossils, biogeography, DNA, proteins, and anatomy all have evidence that illustrate and prove evolution is a fact.
Thank you!